Alrighty, heading over to BT's Game of the Week. Very important segment this week because we've got less games to watch. So it's all the more important, BT, that we pick out an absolute cracker that if you've only got time to sit down and watch one game, you watch this game in particular. Where are we going? Where are we heading?
Just to talk myself up, I've nailed it nearly every week so far. So
You have. They've been absolute crackers most weeks.
And we're going with the Twilight game on Sunday. Fremantle versus Brisbane. This is one of the biggest games for the season, I reckon. This is massive. Last week you tried to give me a bit of shit for not going over my stats. So I went through every single stat this one, and I've got 2 that stood out. Okay. Maybe three actually. So Brisbane averaged 10 more contested possessions, but Fremantle averaged 31 more uncontested possessions.
Hey.
That's a massive difference. So if it's fair weather, lock Fremantle in. If it's wet, lock Brisbane in.
Have you checked the forecast?
Yeah, it's meant to be fine. So
yeah.
But the other one I thought was interesting. Fremantle averaged around 5 bounces a game, where Brisbane only averaged about 1.7, I think it was.
5 bounces.
So from what this tells me, Fremantle like to get the ball on the open side switch a lot, where Brisbane get the ball first and get it forward type game. So it's completely different styles is how it looks. And Brisbane averaged, I think, 6 or 7 more inside 50 contested marks. It's going to be a very interesting game based on stats.
Tazza, interested to hear what you think about this one. Freo got the lid off a little bit early. Flagmantle was up and about. They had a couple of poor weeks. J-Lo sat the team down, set them aside, said, look, fellas, pull your heads in. All right. Now they've come out, beat the best team in the comp. Do you think it goes to their head again? Do you think this is just going to unsettle the Dockers at home and they might they might not win this game?
I'm going to back BT's stats here. I think the stats don't lie. I mean, take the weather prediction in here, and I think Freo will get it done. I think they've learned probably not to underestimate after losing to Collingwood and the Gold Coast before the Melbourne win. I think they would have learned to not be complacent. I think they would have taken enough lessons from that. And I'm going to back them in. I reckon they can get it done. I don't know what the status on Joe Danaher is or McStay.
McStay was back last week, so he'll be all right.
Oh, he was back last week.
Smoke and Joe, I don't think will be back, or McCluggage as well for that matter.
Because I think Danaher, it was touted that he would come back for this game. I think when he did originally do his injury, so it's a big watch there. I like you said, I don't think he's back, but regardless, I think Freo have got enough to tackle it.
Steve, I want to turn my attention to you here because there's been a lot of talk about conditions so far, and you are a man that hates the excuse of conditions when talking about teams. I mean, what are we doing here?
Yeah, I'm torn, to be honest. I'm torn. I don't... Yeah, look, let's just throw the conditions out. It doesn't matter. I think it purely just comes down to who's going to be better on the day. Like, I think what Tazza said is pretty spot on in terms of Fremantle have probably learned a lesson not to underestimate their opponents. And I think, it might be one of those things with a bit of a younger squad that you see, when they come across these better teams or these best teams that they have, obviously Melbourne last week and Brisbane this week, they know and they tell themselves, look, if we actually want to win this game, we're going to have to play our best footy. Whereas, take it back to a couple of weeks ago against Collingwood and Gold Coast, and after a few wins under their belt, maybe it gets to their head and they think, oh, this is probably an easy game, a bit of a walk in the park, so they sort of take the foot off the gas. But I think going back to Brisbane, they know to beat them, they're going to have to be 100 or 110% at their best. So, they can't afford to, be laxy or, have a few players that are playing pretty average or anything like that. So, yeah, I'm kind of torn, but at the same time, I'm leaning a little bit more towards Fremantle just because of what they did to Melbourne. And if they play to their full potential, they could maybe scrape a win here too.
All right, quick fire tips, fellas. BT, you've got no one to help you this week. No tips from Benny Cousins. So who are you locking in for this one?
I'm going Fremantle, 6 goals plus.
Ooh,
Sheesh.
Yeah,
that's
I reckon they're going to get it done.
Almost a
I
bold
don't like
prediction.
Brisbane. I don't like Brisbane how they play away from home, especially coming over to Perth.
Interesting. Tazza?
Yeah, Freo take home the chocolates and the Lockie Neal derby.
Steve, you're on board?
Yeah. Based off of what I just said, I think Fremantle. It'll be close though for me. But
Yeah,
Fremantle win.
I hate talking about conditions, but at the end of the day, it looks like it's going to be a dry game. Fremantle undefeated when it's dry so far this season. Fremantle getting it done against Brisbane and cementing themselves, I think, as the second best team in the competition. Should be an absolute cracker. If you're a fan of either team, let us know in the comments below who you think is going to win and why. We may have to get our special guest, Goody, big Brisbane fan, back on the pod next week to review it all. So stay tuned for that one if you are a fan of either team.